What is up, you guys? It is Mike here, and in today's video I'm going to be giving you guys my Altergeist deck profile that I brought to my weekly Remote Duel tournament that was held last week online. So yeah, guys, I'm sorry I did not get this profile out to you last week. I was, busy playing at the tournament, and I had some other things come up, so I wasn't able to bring this on time to you guys for you guys to see. So I do apologize for that, but this is the list that I did bring to it, and it was a very low player count. I think there were still just 10 of us, just like we usually have. And you guys probably don't want to know about my performance because it's still pretty much the same. I did not get into top cut. Some of them more impressive decks just won the tournament. I think I believe it was a Luna Light Kaiju control deck that won, but I could be wrong, and I know that sounds like a really weird deck, but trust me, it is really fun, and it is super hard to deal with sometimes, being that they just tribute all your stuff. But regardless of that, this is the deck that I brought to the tournament. It was a very fun deck. You guys know that this is one of my favorite control decks I love to play, aside from Dark Magician. And I just really thought this was cool, and I really thought this was a good meta call for it. So I'm just here to give you guys a deck profile. And before I get into the deck, I do want to make a few disclaimer for you guys, just like usual, that as you guys probably tell, this is a very mixed deck with like different kinds of cards, more specifically being TCG, OCG, and some fake Class A cards. So I do apologize if that kind of turns you off. And some of these cards I don't have are being used as proxies. I do have a few proxies. They're not like blank cards that I'm just gonna be showing you guys. They're actually real, like, printed stuff that I just placed into my deck and just gave out and just inserted here. But that's not bother you guys, then you should have no problem watching this, and I'm not gonna waste your time. Let's just go ahead and get to the deck profile. So yeah, guys, just like usual, this is gonna be a 40 card main deck, and we're obviously gonna be starting off with the monsters, starting with the heart and soul of the deck, 3 multi-faker. So yeah, this is your heart and soul. This is the one that you'll be bringing out a majority of your time throughout all of your games, especially in grind game. With multiple copies of this, it can help you consistently get it off, and I'm just really happy this is back at 3. I didn't hate it at 1, but I kind of wish I had at least a few more copies if it when it was at 1, and this is just really good. This brings out your Sequitos, this brings out whatever you need straight from your deck for free, as long as you're able to activate a trap card during either your turn or your opponent's turn, which is obviously not that hard since this is a trap-based deck. So yeah, I don't have much of a reason to play this less than 3, so that's why I included it at 3. And then for our normal summon of the deck here, we're playing 3 Altergeist Marionetter. So Jesus here to set whatever Altergeist trap that you need straight from your deck. And I know that some different builds play her at 2, especially if you're playing like maybe let's say the Numeron variant. I know some people have cut this down to 2, but since this is a pure variant and a budget variant that I forgot to tell you guys, I just had to play this at 3 because this is really important in the deck, and it's one of your key starters in helping ensure that you can go off during your opponent's turn and control the board. And then next, I am playing obviously 3 Altergeist Meliseek. So this is obviously your main disruption of the deck, being that it can target any card on your opponent's field and just send it to the grave, which is obviously really good. I'm just really bummed out that it still targets, but that's not really a big deal as long as you have a way to beat out your opponent's stuff. And obviously when this is sent to the grave, it lets you get a Altergeist monster, so it can search out your Altergeist multi-faker. And sometimes if you need to do your regular first turn place, this is obviously the one that you want to go into. So your normal summon it, go into something like Linkaribo, get its effect off, and then just go off with your place from there. So there's no reason why you shouldn't play this less than 3. And then next, 2 Altergeist Sequitos. So this is also obviously your other main disruptor deck. So if you can get this with multi-figure on the board, you're obviously really at a really good position. And also with Protocol, it potentially gives you 1 bounce during their turn and 1 bounce during your turn, and it's really easy to help consistently get it off, especially if you're bouncing stuff like Protocol back to your hand. You can just set it during your turn, and then when it goes back to their turn, you can activate it, then have a potential bounce again, and get another multi-figure on the board and another free body on the board with something like Milliseek or something else. So obviously this is your main disruption. You don't want to play less than 2. And then lastly, for our last Altergeist monster, I'm playing 1 Altergeist Concuri. So this is your main battle fader of the deck, and it's also really good for negating certain problematic monsters on your opponent's field, or problematic cards, I mean, on your opponent's field, and it helps out ensure that you can go off with some of your plays, especially if one of their cards is giving you a hard time to deal with. So there's no reason to play less than this. It is really good at 1. So yeah, there's no reason to play less than that. And then lastly, for our hand traps of the deck, I'm playing 2 Effect Veiler and 2 Ghost Ogre. So Effect Veiler is because it's interesting really well because it's a spellcaster, and obviously it's not a hard one per turn. So since this is a more budget build, this is the only really good alternative I can go for. And Ghost Ogre kind of came up a little bit in this tournament, but not as often as I like. So I would probably switch this for an Ash in the future. But this is just what I went for during that tournament, and yeah, that's probably what I would change later on. And that's it, guys, for the monsters. Now we'll go ahead and get into the spells, which there are not that many of. So I am playing 2 Pot of Duality and 2 Super Poly. So Pot of Duality obviously is really good because you're not really special summoning too much unless you're going first and you need to summon something like Milliseek and then go into Link Rebuild. This won't hurt you as much, and it obviously helps you dig deep into your deck. I kind of wish I had 3, but this is all I had. And 2 Super Poly because I honestly thought I was going to be facing a lot more dark monsters, and I really thought that Dragoon would be a problem for me, but apparently it didn't. And yeah, that's the main reason why I put it in the deck. It did not come up as often as I like, but it was decent for what it's worth, and that's why I included it here. And then that's it, guys, for these spells. Now we'll go into the traps, since this is where this deck shines out the most. So for the traps, I am playing 2 Altergeist Protocol, 3 Personal Spoofing, and 1 Manifestation. So these are the only Altergeist traps you're playing in the deck. This is all pretty standard. This is searchable off of Marionetter. This you obviously need to play at 3 because with these 2 in the field, it helps you ensure that you can get your disruptions consistently going off, and Manifestations just like your trap version of Monster Reborn in the deck, and that's all it's really used for, not much else. And yeah, this is pretty standard. You guys should have already seen this more than once already, so I don't need to go into further detail with that. And then for our generic spells of the generic traps, I mean, of the deck, I'm playing 3 Anti-Spell Fragrance, because this obviously slows down a lot of spell-heavy decks. If this was like in previous formats, this would have been a blowout for Sky Striker since they can't go off that world without their spells. But in this format, it didn't perform as well, and I honestly thought it would be doing really well, but apparently it didn't. But that's why I did it. It was just one of the really good plugins I could play, and yeah, that's why I included it. And then next, I'm playing 3 Compulse, because this is another disruption of the deck, and it's another way to consistently get your plays going with multi-figure and everything else, since this is more budget build. And obviously this could be really detrimental against normal summer reliant decks, like maybe something like an Invoke variant. This would be really hard to deal with because it just keeps bouncing back stuff, and because it's not home once per turn. So pretty standard, and I don't have much reason to not play it. And then next, 3 Solemn Strike. this could have been a Judgment, but I just went for Stripe because I just honestly thought this was more versatile compared to Judgment. And this did come up a lot, obviously, because being able to negate monster effects and other things is just really good. And yeah, this is just one of the really good solemn packages that I played. I could have gone for a full brigade with like Judgment and Mourning, but this is the one that I just stuck with in this deck, and I didn't really feel like including all the others, so that's why I'm only playing Strike here. And then next, I am playing 2 Lost Wind. So obviously this is really good for, you know, negating monster effects on your opponent's field. As long as you can hit the right card, this can be a really big blowout and can end turns very quickly and help you control your board and break it apart during your turn. This did come up quite a lot, and I'm happy that I played it like this. And it did do fairly well, and I really did enjoy playing this. So yeah, I would probably leave this at 2, but yeah, that's the reason I played it. And then for our 1-of-7 deck, I'm playing 1 Imperial Order and 1 Waking the Dragon. So Imperial Order, I can warrant myself to play this because I'm not playing a lot of spells in this deck, and this could be a blowout against a lot of different decks, even against the Lunar like Kaiju control deck that I was playing against. This was a big blowout because it negated, he was playing cards like Kyoto Waterfront, and this did help me ensure that I could, you know, negate it to help him ensure that he doesn't get negates consistently with Gamma Seal and other things. So this was really good, and it was a big blowout for them. And then Waking the Dragon, I probably would have wanted to play multiples if I had any, but this is the only copy I had, and this did not come up as much. I was kind of hoping it would, but it didn't, so oh well. And that is it, guys, for the main deck. Now we'll go ahead and get into the extra deck here, and it's pretty standard. So for Altergeist monsters in the extra deck, we're playing 2 Hexia and 2 Prime Banshee. You obviously do not go into these as often as you'd like. Even I didn't go to it as often as I'd like, and they're just decent for what they're worth. Hexia does come up sometimes. Prime Banshee is just here when I need her. But other than that, you don't really need to go into these as often, since all of your main disruption are in the main deck. So there was not much of a reason for me to want to play this. So yeah, that's why I, you know, kept them like this. And then for our super poly targets here, I'm playing 1 Starving Venom, 1 Mud Dragon, and 1 Diplexer. So this is just a pretty standard super poly package here. And none of these came up at all throughout the entirety of the tournament because I only played 4 ones of Swiss, and this didn't really come up as often as I'd like. It might now, considering Dragoon is becoming a thing, and this could honestly be really good targets for them, especially Diplexer, because not much people are playing this card, and this is kind of underrated for me against Cyber's matchup, like, you know, against Salamangreat or others. But other than that, at least in this competitive format, there's not that many super poly targets you can go into besides Dragoon. I can't really think of that much others, but Mud Dragon could be an exception in that because, you know, it only needs, if I'm not mistaken, same attributes with different types. So yeah, other than that, that's the whole reason I played it, and it's just, you know, pretty standard. And then for the only Xyz we're playing the deck, 2 Ultimate Falcon, because this is our Waking Dragon target. It's really easy to bring out, and this is really hard to deal with, even for me sometimes when they bring it out, and if I'm not careful about which back row I hit. So this could also be a really big blowout sometimes for some decks. And since it's unaffected by everything, you can't super poly it. You contribute it with a Kaiju, but other than that, this is a really big monster that's hard to deal with. And yeah, I obviously play it because of Waking the Dragon. And then for our last links of the deck, I'm playing 3 Linkaribo, 2 Almirage, and 1 Borreload. I know this Borreload is a bit weird because it's a weird inclusion in this format because not a lot of people are thinking about this, but I kind of thought this would be decent against Dragoon because it can just take control of it without targeting, and your opponent wouldn't be able to respond, if I'm not mistaken. But other than that, that's why it's here. and Lincoln Rebones, Amaraj are just pretty standard. They're easy for you to get rid of with cards like Meliseek, Marionetter, and some other things. So obviously this is pretty standard, that's why I included them here. And that is it, guys, for the extra deck. Now we'll go into the side deck, which is also pretty standard. So for the monsters, I'm playing 3 Nibiru and 1 Pankratops. So I kind of wish this was at 2. I can't wait to play this at 2 when I go back into the OCG, because I'm stuck playing TCG because of this whole pandemic. But other than that, I'm just stuck with this at 1, which is not that bad. It was decent. It was a free run on the board and did help me play against some decks. And this Nibiru was a really big blow for me, especially when I went up against an Adamantipator deck, because he did have a choice during one of our games to go into Guardian to make this a dead card, but he didn't, and I was able to wipe the whole board and enter his turn and control the game from there. So this was really good. It really did come in clutch. But against other decks, this could also be really good. Obviously against Salamangreat, this is a big blowout. And yeah, to the extent of Adamantipator, it's good. Eldritch, probably not, because they're only playing 1 monster. But everything else, pretty good, pretty standard. And yeah, I wouldn't want to not play these. And then for the spells, 3 Dark Ruler, because you don't care about not doing any damage. You just want to make sure that you're able to negate any monster effects during your turn, so that you can build your board and go off with your plays. And this is just obviously a really good meta call for this format, because negating monster effects, especially now with cards like Dragoon and others, are really good. So it would shut down the Dragoon's negation effect. It would it's just a really versatile card, this format, and there's no reason not to play this because it's just that good. And then next, 1 Mind Control, because I need more options to be able to bait out cards like negations, and if I'm able to take my opponent's cards as well, I would. But yeah, this did not come out as much, probably because it's limited. But other than that, it was really good. I did like it, and I probably would consider playing this again. And then I am playing 3 Secret Village and 1 Terraforming to search it out, because I really thought I was really gonna face more spell heavy decks and see a lot of them, go off with their spells, but it did not come up as much. But it was decent. I did not hate it at all, and it did help me in some of my matches, but at least in this tournament, it just didn't do that well. But other than that, this is still a really good floodgate against a lot of spell heavy decks, and you can obviously consistently keep spellcasters on your field since your whole deck is full of spellcasters, so you can warrant yourself to play this consistently well, and you don't care about being locked into spells. Sometimes even if you don't have any, because as you guys saw, we're not playing that many spells here, so there's not much. It won't really hurt me much if I'm locked under spells, because I'm not playing that many. So yeah, that's why I played it. And then for our last spell of the deck, last spell of the side deck, I mean, 3 Twin Twister, because I needed more back row hate and be able to deal with those kind of things, and to bait out negations as much as I could. So this is why it's here. It did come up a little bit, but at least in this format, it is fairly decent, especially against cards like Eldritch, for example. But obviously you would definitely would want to play other cards, like maybe like Lightning Storm or other things. But other than that, since this is more of a budget build, this is the only other one I can go into. I was thinking of Cosmic Cyclone, but I decided really not to, because I just really thought this would be more ideal for me, considering it would give me more targets and stuff, and beat out negations a little bit easier without hurting myself too much. Because paying the 1,000 for Cosmic Cyclone is not that bad, but going into grind game, I just kind of felt like it might hurt. And I know that sounds a bit weird considering like points don't matter, but still, this is the only one I really wanted to go into. And there you go, guys. That is gonna be my deck profile for Altergeist for this September 2020 format. So this is a really fun deck. This is obviously a really fun pure deck that I enjoy playing. If you guys do want to see a Numeron variant of this, definitely let me know in the comments below. And if you guys did enjoy the video, definitely give it a thumbs up, thumbs down if you didn't, and share it with your friends so that they can see the profile as well and see and get more ideas that way. And again, let me know in the comments below what you guys think. Do you guys like it? Do you hate it? Do you think this deck could be better? What would you change in the deck? I would love to hear your thoughts and get a discussion going here. And if you guys do enjoy my content and do want to see more videos like this, then definitely subscribe to the channel, and I'll turn on the notification bell so you guys don't miss out anytime I upload videos. And that is going to be it, guys. Thank you guys so much for watching. This is Henrik45 signing off.